This is Tuesday, April 21st, 2020 meeting of the Berlin Planning Board. As a preliminary matter, please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you. Take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. This is Ronald Vavruska, Chairman of the Planning Board. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on an agenda are present and can hear me prior to me calling the meeting to order. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Tom Sanford.
Do what?
Here, present.
Okay. Then Jay Teach.
Here.
Janet Campbell.
Here.
Tim Wheeler. No response. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Clerk for Land Use Boards, Leanne Leahy.
Here.
Okay. With a quorum of the board present, I call this meeting to order at 7:33 p.m. on Tuesday, April 21st, 2020. The open meeting of the Planning Board is conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Berlin website at www.townofberlin.com. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the Governor's office suspends the requirements of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed to and encouraged to participate remotely. This order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely, provided reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. When no in-person attendance of members of the public is permitted, every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website an audio or video recording transcript or other comprehensible record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. The standard public comment period of this meeting will accommodate limited public comment. For this meeting, the Planning Board is convening using the Zoom platform as posted on the agenda, identifying how the public may join. The public is encouraged to follow along during the meeting using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. Supporting materials that are available this evening to members of the board to the board can be made available to the public by request. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure adequate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will invite each board member by name to provide any comments, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Board members and speakers on the agenda, Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait till I yield the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in conversation with each other, please do so through me, taking care to identify yourself. To the extent our technical capabilities allows, public comment will be permitted during the public comment portion of the meeting as follows. Attendees' phones and other devices will be muted unless they raise their hand and are recognized by me to speak. I ask each member of the public who wishes to speak to identify their name, and I will afford each speaker time to ask a question or make a brief comment. Finally, each vote taken during this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Now we got all that information, and I don't think, do we have any members of the public attending this meeting?
Ron, I can see that there's someone attending by phone, so I can't identify. It's
Okay. There's
Berlin
someone attending.
number 2809. Do you know if that might be Tim calling in?
2809, hold on a minute.
So I don't want to move them up to panelist unless it's Tim.
2809 is Tim.
All right, I'm going to move him up to panelist so that he'll
Okay.
be able to, well, actually, I can't move him up to panelist. I can only allow him to talk.
Okay, let him talk.
All right, Tim, you should be able to talk.
Oh no, not really.
Yep.
I'm taking a roll call. Tim Wheeler, are you here?
I'm here.
All right, so it looks like you have everyone in attendance. So what I'm going to do is turn over hosting capabilities to Tom. And
Now, Tom is taking the minutes.
Oh, Tom is taking minutes.
Should Jay
Okay.
be doing the hosting thing?
Jay, are you
Jay, you're
comfortable?
more familiar with it, aren't you, than Tom?
I can be the host, yep.
All right,
Just watch out. Especially Janet. She starts saying anything I don't like, I'm turning her off.
Okay, that's a
I'll
good
assign
idea.
I'll assign you as host, and I'm going to shut off my camera and mute my mic, but I am in the room. If something comes up or you need assistance, just give a holler.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's see, Jay. Okay, Jay, you are now the host and in control.
All right.
Okay, the first item is on the agenda is to determine how we can conduct usual planning board business during virtual meetings. And I invited Margaret to come to our meeting. I think she has some, how do we sign things on these virtual meetings? Things of that sort. But she seemed to think we needed help on how we conduct a Zoom meeting. So she's at the Board of Selectmen meeting tonight, so she's not here. So planning board business, how do we conduct it? I mean, how do we sign off an A&R that has to go to the registry? How do we
have
do
to
that?
run it around the town.
Well, you
have
got to
run it
keep
around
it.
to various people.
I don't know. We got social distancing and all that kind of good stuff.
I thought we got some information from the attorney about electronic signatures.
Yeah, I think that was on letters, but I think it was still an open item on anything that goes to the registry, that type of thing. The other thing I think what we need signatures on, we pay bills. We have to sign the warrant.
Well, I'm sure
How
we
do we
could
do
do
electronic?
we could do counterpart copies. So if we had a PDF of the document we need to sign, or at least the signature section, we could all print it, sign it, and send it back.
Hey, Jay, which PDF viewer do you use?
Acrobat.
You just use Acrobat? All right. We have, in our business, I have a Bluebeam, which is like an Acrobat, only you can do takeoffs and things like that. And there's a dialogue box for a predetermined or like a scanned signature that's certified by them. So that if I sign a document, it follows along with that PDF, and it's certified by Bluebeam that it's my signature.
So
Do
this
that
will
for
handle,
bills and for documents that I have to sign to turn in with, information, contract information, that type of thing.
this handles big drawings, right?
Yeah,
Do you have to pay for it? Presumably you do.
I pay for it, yeah.
Will the
I
town
don't
pay
know
for
if
it?
there's something available on Acrobat that's like that, though.
Huh. I've never seen that. I mean, there's a signature feature in Acrobat where you can scan your signature, and place it anywhere you want on a document.
But is it certified by them that it's a copy of yours?
They do have a certified signature thing, but it's a little bit complicated.
This is why I was hoping Margaret would be here, because I'm sure she's gone through this with some of the other boards. I mean, by this time, they probably figured something out.
Yeah. I mean, it may be a limited period of time that we have the problem. And,
Hopefully limited.
yeah. And who knows how
Well-
many A&Rs we're going to need to sign in that time.
Well, I think maybe I can give her send her an email tomorrow and ask her how we can do these. How do we sign A&Rs that have to go to the registry? How do we sign a warrant to get bills paid?
Yep.
They may have something set up, and at the town may have something set up for us already. Something like what Tom's speaking about. The town may have bought something like that. And well, let's continue with this item.
So
What
you're
other bus-
uncomfortable, Ron? You're uncomfortable with going, having the document be, transported around the town for people to sign?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm uncomfortable going to the town hall to do anything like that too.
Okay. I just didn't know.
I'm in that
Demographic. Yeah, I get it.
yeah. Even Tim's reached out too, and maybe even Janet.
What?
You over 60?
The high
I
rate of
don't admit it. I don't admit it.
the COVID-19 virus would run away from you.
Let's see, 2 autoimmune diseases, very heavy chemo when I went through cancer. Yeah, I don't think I'm susceptible. Oh,
Yeah,
I've got
you're-
asthma too.
You're a survivor. Nothing will kill you.
That's what my father said.
Okay.
He said, don't worry, you're not going to die. I only want the good ones young.
Well, I was told today by my former chief scientific officer that kids are not the transporter of the disease that we all thought. They actually can't transport the disease.
They can't.
What is,
There's new research heading in that direction, credible research.
what is?
The kids are not carriers.
Right.
It's not in a meaningful way. We thought they were all the little
Wait.
devils that were spreading it to us, but apparently they're not. So we could have a kid carry the drawings around to us. On a bike.
I'll carry it around. I don't care. I use my hand sanitizer and a mask, so.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to send Margaret an email tomorrow on us conducting our business about signing on A&Rs and warrants to pay bills. Anything else well, we still on this topic. How can we conduct planning board business? Well, we're doing it right now. How we meet. Anything else is it's going to cause us a problem on?
We'll find out when we trip over it.
Well, we have these discussions going on like we have now. That's
Well, what are we going to do about big drawings that we need to look at? Sounds like one of us has software to deal with it, but not the rest of us.
Big drawings, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know. I've never tried looking at a, like I say, I have, looking at a large drawing in Acrobat. It doesn't work.
No.
We just have to use hazmat suits.
You can, some of these drawings, I think if you get it, you can go around and magnify a portion of it. But that's, you got to piece it together.
Was that true with Acrobat? I don't know. No, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I've done that.
With a big drawing at full resolution, so it's like 10 screens worth of information.
Yeah, right. If you get it big enough to where you can see it and read what's on it, then you only got a portion of the drawing.
All right. Got to make sure everybody submits their drawings electronically then.
They do anyways, don't they?
Well, how's that help?
But that's not what we, but that's
How's
not
that
what
help?
we found.
How's it help if they submit it electronically? How do we?
It only helps some of us.
Yeah, I mean, I still get it on my little computer screen. You have a capability if they submit electronically, Tom, where you can print it out or look at it.
Sure.
But you have that too, Jay?
I can print it, but not full size. I've got kind of a half size printer,
Okay.
not like B size,
Yeah, I got an 8x10 printer. That's it.
yeah. I don't mind looking at drawings, electronically, as long as they're have all the resolution that you.
Yeah, we can't get the resolution. Okay, big drawings resolution. Okay, so that's another problem we have with meeting like this. What other things do we usually do that we're going to have trouble with? Anybody have any? Tim, I haven't heard from you. What do you think?
Well,
What?
part of me doesn't have trouble with letting people leave a plan and figuring out a way to get it signed.
Yeah, that we may be able to do something like that.
I mean,
Again,
we only need 3 signatures. So if
What if some of us don't agree?
well,
we have to take a vote. The usual things, we take a vote, and then we
Right.
the people who voted for it, they sign it. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
and generally with an A&R, we're in a unanimous agreement anyway. So
yeah,
and that's the type of plans that are the important ones that have to be resolved.
yeah. As I said, I was hoping to get Margaret here. I would think, for the past month, she's come across some of these problems, and they have solutions for them. But we'll try tomorrow. I'll send her an email and copy everyone on it. Okay. Anything else in that area? Of anything? Think of anything else we're doing that we usually do that's going to be a burden?
Well,
by
paying a bill.
having- Yeah, I have that down. Paying the bill. How do we sign the warrants?
Right. Can you sign as a chair, though?
No, the usual thing is.
You have to have multiple signatures.
Yeah, right. That's what you do. Well,
Well, that's a good
maybe
question.
they came out something special for this time that only the chairman has to sign. Again,
Right. I mean,
I'll
you
throw
can
that
ask
question on Margaret.
Margaret.
Okay, that's the only things I can think of on this that's going to be a burden to us. Meeting like this and chatting on the webcam. Great. Okay. Then we'll go to the second agenda item. And again, I was hoping Margaret could explain it, what was going on here. We had Article 39 on the last annual town meeting. That was the warrant to add the the new senior residential development over on off River Road West that the town turned down. What was the name of the proponent? I forget his name now.
Steve Vinacasa.
Yeah, right, Steve. And it was turned down.
Right.
Okay, but now there was something with so therefore, before the town meeting, we didn't allow that to be a senior residential development. And as it is now, it's not allowed to be a senior residential development. And after the meeting, there was something, I was hoping Margaret would be here to explain it. There was some kind of problem with the meeting itself, and the legislature has to
Right.
take some action to certify the results of the annual town meeting.
The
You know more
warrant
about
for
that,
the
Tim?
The warrant for the annual town meeting has to be in the hands of the voter X number of days prior to town meeting. And it was being boxed up the night that it would have met the requirement, but it got delivered to the post office, but they didn't do the paperwork until the next morning. So it wasn't a legal town meeting. So the
Whole meeting?
legislature, the whole meeting. So the legislature has the authority to validate the meeting if they so choose. And the town went and said, would you do that? But of course, they've been a little busy, and they've taken their time. And so as a result, that town meeting isn't, to my understanding, the articles that we passed aren't legitimate. So a number of things have to be reconsidered if you wanted to get them corrected. Now, Margaret asked us, do you want to have this article brought up at the annual town meeting if they do it in June, or do you want to wait on it? And I mean, I think Ron and I felt, what's the point of putting it on this town meeting? It's been voted down. It's not like having it at this town meeting and voting it down again is going to change anything. So they've got enough problems trying to hold a town meeting as it is. Why clutter it up with a bunch of stuff that doesn't need action at this time? So
Yeah, I think we can
she
wait.
felt she'd wait.
We can wait for the legislature to do something about it.
Right. They may very well act before we have a special town meeting in the fall.
Well, even if they don't act before we have a special town meeting, we can still wait. Nothing's changed.
Is the proponent saying anything?
No, I got a call from a realtor that works out of Florida who represents the Worcester Sand folks.
Yeah.
And he said, what is it that we can do with the property? And we went through the list, and I said, if you've got somebody that's really legit and got a good project, give us a call, because we're certainly willing to sit down with them. But I said that the difficulty for Steve was that he was trying to get around the zoning bylaw and just put in a senior overlay district without working
Being
through
facility.
Yeah, I mean, the way he's done it more recently with his new proposal through the ZBA. And it sounded as though Worcester Sand was sort of fed up with working with Steve, and I think they've parted ways. Because Steve, I don't know if you saw the article in the newspaper a couple months ago about Steve in a court case in Shrewsbury where he'd bumped one of the ZBA members in the hall of the town hall, and he got taken to court, and they put him on probation for a year.
Oh, gracious, no.
Great.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so I think when I talked to the realtor down in Florida, he said they weren't too keen on continuing working with Steve anyway. So I think that's dead in the water now.
Okay.
But they'd be happy to work with us if and I said, give us a good project, we'll work with you.
But you say we'll sit down with them, but not in the near future.
No,
So I don't think we have to do any, I'll let Margaret know. I don't think we have to do anything. We just wait for the legislature to, because of course, we're not permitting a senior residential development on that property. And if we do nothing, we still don't permit it. So there's nothing positive on that article. And if they never permit it, if they never take any action, we still stay where we're at with the zoning bylaw. And any comments on that? You think that's about right? Am I looking at it the right way?
Fine by me.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Next item. We have Haley and Ward's invoice got through the cracks. And we got a bill, and we have in the West Street crossing, what do they call West Street crossing? Is that what it's called? Anyway, the West Street.
The one right by Five Corners.
Yeah,
Yes.
right, that development. Yeah, so we're in the account with $356.52 short in order to pay Haley and Ward. Has anybody been dealing with these people, getting them to pay money? Or have we, does anybody have any contact? You have a contact point? Does anybody have a contact point?
How did they give us money already? They
They
gave
must
us
have given-
money the night they came in?
Yeah, I guess.
It must be the money that they put down when they filed for the proposal.
Yeah. So we have to scare another $356.52 out of them. But I
Well,
don't have any contact information from them, of them, or where I can get in contact with them. Nobody else knows either.
I would think if you talk to the highway superintendent, that he's probably been in touch with them because he's been hopefully watching over what they're doing.
Okay, yeah.
And
Okay.
He'd know how to. He's probably in contact with them.
Okay, I'll get in contact with the highway. What's his name again?
Smith.
Smith.
Dave.
Dave Smith, right. Dave.
Shut that dog up.
Shut up. Did somebody just join the meeting here?
Yeah, dog.
No, I heard a tone like somebody was joining the meeting.
No, it's my dog.
Whose dog was it?
You did that?
Mine.
Who did the chime? There was a chime I just heard a chime. Somebody else.
Might have been your doorbell, Ron.
Yeah.
I've been watching.
Yeah.
I'm watching you guys, and it won't. I can't get. I mean, I'm listening to you online. I'm watching you online, but I can't break in. So.
Do you have
I
a
keep-
start video down in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen?
Guys, if you don't mind me interrupting, Jay,
Oh, yeah.
you need to click on participants.
Yeah.
And if you look at attendees and full list of attendees, you'll see.
Oh,
Willard
he's there
Wheeler.
twice. All right, I see.
I think if you move Willard Wheeler up as panelist, I think that's Tim. But you
Right.
should also rename him so that it's clear who is present.
Yeah, but Tim called in. Tim didn't come
No,
in.
now he's
Hey,
changed
there
his
I
name to
am.
Willard, but he's there.
Here he is.
I don't see anybody.
So
Unmute
what
his
you
mic.
can, Jay, what you can do is you need to rename Tim. So it says Tim Whaler, planning board member. And it looks like he hung up, so he's no longer on by phone.
He's got to unmute his mic.
Yeah, he can do that or Jay can do that. I don't have
Can you
that
unmute it?
capability any
I
longer.
can
There you
unmute
go.
myself.
Oh,
Alright.
I hear him.
Yep, you should, all right, Tim, you should rename yourself and just
Sure, I can
put
do
your
it.
name and then put planning board member.
Oh, on here?
Like your
Yes.
name in here.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
last name too.
I don't know how to do that.
Ah, look, there he is.
Jay, if you hover over his name or click
No,
on
I
his
just
name,
did it. His name's, he's
Okay.
got the right name now.
Okay.
I
Hey,
could have named him
yeah.
something else.
you should also add, Jay, that he's a planning board member. Identify him as a planning board member.
Planning board
Oh,
member.
there's Tim.
Okay,
Okay.
and I'm out.
Should I
Don't
put
go
a-
don't
should
go
I put a
away yet,
Steve
Leanne.
planning board
Leanne.
member?
Do we have anybody else on? It's just the planning board members on this? Does
Just
any-
us.
Yeah, it's just you. You have no attendees listening in on the meeting. It's just you guys.
Okay.
And I'm still here. I'm just gonna mute my mic.
Okay, we'll yell help if we need you.
All right.
Okay, so we got that's settled. Call Dave Smith, get a name, call him up and tell him to give us another $356 so we can pay the consultant.
Plus,
Yeah, and you may want to ask for more than that because there may be
Right.
some other bills. I mean,
I don't know what other bills we're going to be getting. We're all finished with them.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I think you should get some late fees from him.
Yeah, but then we get the late fees. What do you do with them? They're on the list and you can never get them off the list, and it's if we have to do some more work with them, we'll tell them we make them pay at that time, or we won't do the work until we get paid.
We should pay Haley and Wood, though.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I got to get the money so we can pay Haley and Ward. Yeah.
Send him a partial payment. Would she do that? She won't do that.
No,
Oh no, huh? All right, just so.
It's crazy.
Oh, maybe we get hold of this guy and we get the money.
well, if you talk to Dave, Dave may very well say, I can't let you do any more work until you pay the bill.
Yeah.
That'll get his attention.
For $356, he should be able to pony
Right.
that up.
Yeah.
That's not even a load of gravel.
Maybe they'll
And-
pay us off in gravel.
But, and Ron, it would be good when you did talk to Dave, just to clarify that he's watching them step by step to be assured that they're installing everything correctly, like the drainage and all that stuff.
Oh, okay. I'll just query him on that a little bit. How's everything going, Dave? They're doing everything according to plan, and
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah. Okay. Last thing we have on. It's not on the agenda, but it's not a. I don't think it has to be an agenda. It's because we're just making a recommendation on a right of first refusal over on Lyman Road. We did an A&R last August.
Right.
And does anybody remember anything unusual about that?
So you want a motion that the planning board has no problem with the town not exercising its right of first refusal?
Yeah, I don't do we don't do that on every right of first refusal, do we?
We've done it in the
always want-
past.
Yeah.
I think we've done it in the past, but I don't know if we do that normally. If somebody has, if the town has a right of first refusal, we make some.
They tend to ask us, so
Okay.
it'd be good to tell them no.
All right, I second the motion.
Okay, now it's a roll call vote.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Okay, Tim Wheeler, how do you vote on the motion?
Aye.
Okay, Tom Sanford, how do you vote on the motion?
Aye.
Janet Campbell, how do you vote on the motion?
Aye.
Okay, and we got Jay. Jay, how do you vote on the motion? Jay.
Aye.
JT. And Ron Rivers
Ron, how do
votes
you vote?
aye. I vote aye. Okay, I'll send the selectmen that we have no objection to bypassing the right of first refusal. Well, I'll word it right. Okay. any other business to come before this meeting of the planning board?
The Sennies, well, Matt Senni emailed and said perhaps it would be wise to forego the rest of the work that Roberta Cameron was doing in regard to the physical impact of Riverbridge. I spoke to Margaret and she felt, and I agreed, that the first stage of that study that had to do with public safety and the ambulance service was pretty important, and that it really wasn't something that we wanted to put on the back burner, because it's important for us to understand what some of those impacts would be as they proceed. So I contacted Roberta, and she said she was pretty well finished with that first stage. She just needed a few bits of information. And I asked Margaret if she'd send that along to Roberta, and she said she would. And I see from some emails recently that she's done that. So
Oh, good.
Roberta should be able to finish up pretty quickly. And I would think we'd get a draft of that fairly soon. And, you know, then we could look that over. And she said she'd be happy to join us in one of these Zoom meetings to discuss it. And I said, that'd be great. I mean, she didn't want to travel up here, and it's
No.
just as easy for us to do it this way. And we'd have
And
materials.
could you ask her, can she send a email a copy to each of us?
Yeah, so she's gonna, you know, send us the draft, and then we can look that over and decide what improvements we want, and then she'll meet with us. So
And we can, if we get that draft and we look at it, we can put her on the agenda for the next meeting.
yeah, my understanding is that they've had some setbacks in terms of working on the project, and that they probably will be behind in terms of filling apartments down there. So
Yeah.
that the notion of using September as a opportunity to investigate, you know, what the impacts would be to the schools doesn't seem practical at this stage. So I think Roberta is perfectly willing to delay that part of the study till a
I
later
think that's a
time.
good idea. Yeah.
And that, you know, works with Sennies. I don't think they probably wanted to spend the total of the 14,000 if they could help it. So they'll probably have to spend 8 or 9 or something like that. But
Okay. Oh,
we'll
so
find out
you'll
more.
get in contact with Roberta. She sends us
Yeah.
Sends us the draft report before the next meeting. We'll put her on the
That's-
agenda.
Yeah, I think that's her goal.
Did Matt Senni mention anything more about the restaurant? They're going to come in the spring with the restaurant. They said they're going to bring that
With
up.
the restaurant?
Yeah.
How soon when did he say that to you?
Oh no, he sent back in February. Last time they were scheduling a meeting to come in, and they said
Oh.
no, they're not going to come in. They're going to hold off on anything until the spring.
Everything I've heard is
Why have
that
they got workers?
What was that, Janet?
Why are they working down there?
You can work on housing, hospitals,
God.
anything that's essential. Anything that has any public sector, that's okay. So if it's got assistance in it or opportunity for disadvantaged families, anything like that, it's wide open. You can work on it.
Thank you.
Okay, so nobody's heard anything more about a restaurant down at the River Bridge.
everything I've heard is that they're continuing to strike out with anybody that's looking at a restaurant.
Oh, the one they had on the hook that wanted to put the parking out front. He's let go.
That's my understanding.
Oh, okay.
Can't imagine anybody in the restaurant business is looking to expand right at this point.
No,
Right, that's true too.
no, not at all.
Okay, let's go back to our regular meetings of the second and fourth Tuesday, which brings us to May 12th and May 26th. So we'll have a meeting on May 12th.
Great.
Any other business to come before this meeting? Hey, we should do this all the time. It makes the meetings quicker. Nothing?
Yeah,
Jay?
unless you're already having multiple ones of these every day.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think gets old hat after a while.
It does.
Jay,
Okay.
did you want to tell them anything about the meeting we had with Carrie?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Who?
Try and think if I have any notes. Well, we had kind of a kickoff meeting for the Village Center long-term plan grant
Uh-huh.
program. Who do we had? We had Tim, Chief Galvin, Evie Dueck, our consultant from CPRMC. Who did I forget?
Margaret.
Margaret. Yep. And we've got, maybe it's preliminary, maybe it's a final definition of the area that we're gonna consider, which is kind of a circle, third of a mile around, a little bit south of the center of the town. But we started with just a circle and then we put a little more detail into it, and Tim found all the property holders' names, and Carrie put together a map that includes all the parcels, you know, the outlines of all the parcels. And so I would say from looking at it, there's quite a bit of available land that could still be developed over time in the center. A lot of it is held by just a small number of owners, but it seems like a great time to be talking about where we're heading long term, so those people can make decisions to steer their parcels into the places consistent with the plan.
Now, Carrie sent us plans that they've done in a similar fashion for a couple other towns, and I haven't read those yet. Have you, Jay?
I think it was, there was one, I think it was just one, and then there's some other document that came with it.
We can forward those to everybody else on the board, because
Oh, we should do that, yeah. That's
Yeah.
good.
Now you say you got this from Carrie? Who's Carrie?
Carrie works for CMRPC, and she's been
Okay.
see, a couple things have happened with CMRPC, and they've been the point organization for the distribution of funds from the state that go to boards of health that are unaffiliated. So any of the 40 towns that we deal with at CMRPC that aren't like us as part of Neshoba or whatever, are unaffiliated, and they needed to get a jolt of money, which CMRPC has been funneling to them. And they also got onto significant funds, and I forget how many million, but it's some of the federal economic development money, and it's funneled through the state. So the state has used the RPAs to deliver that too. So they've been sort of sidetracked onto some of those projects, but she's still excited about working with us on this Center Village study, because it means they get to do some fun stuff instead of just all this other virus related issues. So they were going to develop more detail on the parcel map. So they were going to develop the size of the parcels with what the individuals were, the zoning, and then pump out a map and a listing, and
Yeah. She sent us a document that has best practices in it.
yeah, that's
Town
right.
centers, and then one report. We should all read it, because I'd be interested in what you think. I mean, I think the report they did was great. I mean, it was, I forget the town, but it had much more industrial downtown. You know, it was a mill town. little bigger. North Brookfield. Was North Brookfield, does that sound right? I think
Yeah,
so.
they may have done North Brookfield. I think
Yeah.
they've been working on Rutland, Grafton, Hardwick. There's a bunch of them, but I think she forwarded us a couple.
Yeah, it was in 2019, it was North Brookfield.
Okay.
And my impression after looking over is it was great, but I was looking for more.
Hmm.
Because this one's a little bit too much like an interesting, it was like watching a documentary on the town as opposed to, and it had a long list of things that could be done,
Off of that
initiatives
best
for all
practices
different groups.
list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'd like to see us get a little further than that. Because I think what we need, a good outcome would be if we got people in town who are interested and stakeholders, which is the people that own those properties, to together have a vision of what we'd like the town to look like 20 years from now. Right.
Yeah.
A little more tangible vision than they developed in the North Brookfield study. Because if you have that, and a lot of people are on board with it and you get excited about it, it can gather some momentum and it can actually happen. Whereas if you have a study and the outcome doesn't jump out and grab you and isn't something that a group of people all get excited about, it's liable to become another documented bookshelf. So I think that's our job, is to try to push it a little harder and see if we can bring it to an outcome that's really meaningful. And it may take more time and money. I'm sure it'll take more time and money than what we've got so far, but we could at least get it pointed in that direction. But anyways, you guys should all read. It's not that long. It's let me see here how many slides. Yeah, it's only 73 pages. It'll only take you a few minutes to read it.
Ah.
But just see, think about, if we put a lot of work into this, what would you like to have as an outcome? And how do we get key people to be really excited about it and want to make it happen?
Well, first job is to get the members of the planning board excited about it.
Yeah. Well, I'll send it around and look through it and let's talk about it at each meeting a little bit.
Okay.
See if
Yeah.
we can
Well,
get moving.
okay.
And I know there's other people that would like to participate too as we get moving.
Okay.
And what happened with our disaster preparedness initiative? Got turned off just as the disaster arrived, or
Yeah, we're a little late.
Yeah.
I mean, the staff is so strung out, given all these other things. And that project, of course, is pretty intense. They were going to have to bring 6 or 7 staff members here for either the 2 half days or the full day for that mega meeting of 70 or 80 people. But I think trying to do that on Zoom would be problematic. And, we can probably hold off on that a little while, but that's
have to wait for the next disaster, you mean?
that's in the works too. So
That was tied to some grant money, right?
yeah, and I imagine what's happening with a lot of these grants is that people are just extending the time that the
Okay.
expenditure has to take place. So particularly if it's state money, which that was. So.
I want to know what's happening with my composting grant, Tim. Did you apply for that?
A composting grant?
Yeah, I put in for a track loader and a manure spreader. I want to see where the money is.
I was in the composting business for a long time, and the neighbors, even when things were running smoothly, weren't always happy. So I said, and I've watched Davidians with their problems with neighbors and composting, and I thought,
Well, we've got
I'll buy compost from
50
you. That'll be great.
biological. Yeah, we have 50 biological composters that are
Yeah.
working for us every day. It's just we're having a hard time selling what they make.
Yeah. What about that guy composting right over the town line and
Oh, yeah, he's a good one too.
yeah, I mean, he's got a
Yeah, so
smelly business there. He's composting dead turkeys and
uh,
everything.
Yep. Janet's friend, Santo Anza.
Yeah.
What?
Your
What did you
friend-
say?
Your friend, Santo.
Oh, my friend.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know what's that guy. I got. If it wasn't so sad, it'd be almost funny. I mean, they give him orders, stop and desist, and
Right.
everything else, and they give him fines, and he doesn't do it, and he just keeps going on. And it's going on for years
Right.
and years, and he just ignores it, and he keeps getting away with it.
I think he used to be in Weston and he used to do the same thing.
Oh, yeah, he
Yeah, I
gets
think
thrown
so.
out of a lot of towns.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he keeps going.
Yep.
Yeah, wasn't he involved with the big dig too? With the
No, that was somebody else.
that was
No,
somebody
yeah,
else.
somebody
He
else.
didn't get involved with the big dig. Okay.
It was his
But all
brother.
those dead turkeys. I mean, those dead turkeys have to go somewhere. I mean, what do you want to do with them?
But the people in Northborough said, not in my neighborhood.
Actually,
Okay.
one of the Northborough Planning Board members saw me at Central Mass, and then she sent me a link to a newspaper article in the Telegram back in February, I guess, where Steve Vinicasa had picked up a piece of property not too far from School Street, around the corner there from the Lincoln Street School or whatever. So yeah, Lincoln. So anyway, there was an old farmhouse, center chimney, you know, and he ended up owning the lot in front of it, I guess, and must have picked up that parcel too. And the next thing you know, it's gone. So yeah, people in Northborough were not too happy. They came in with a cease and desist, but it was too late. They'd lost that old structure before they caught wind of the fact that it was going to be demolished. So he didn't win any friends over there either.
Well, there's a rather unflattering picture in the, whatever it is, Worcester Telegram and Gazette or something you can find online of the bumping incident.
Yeah.
But as I learned in our training sessions from your regional group, we're not supposed to be taking any history or
Right.
opinions into consideration when we make decisions. We're supposed to be focusing on the facts.
Just the facts.
Yep.
It's the way we've always been. Right, Janet?
Beyond me.
I move we adjourn.
Okay.
Seconded.
I guess we got a roll call. Tim Wheeler, how do you vote?
Aye.
Okay. Tom Sanford, how do you vote?
Aye.
Janet Campbell, how do you vote?
Aye.
Jim Teach, Jay Teach, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Ron Vavruska, vote aye.